Welcome, hustlers, to the Live Your Lifestyle movement. I'm glad you made the decision to live life on your terms. We help millennials become the directors of their own lives. My name is Austin Varley, and you're going to learn and master tactful strategies, blueprints, lessons, and the ways of the 5% around the world. But first, what's your ideal lifestyle? Now that you know what you want in your future, let's create you a blueprint to achieve it. It's only a matter of time until you are living your ideal lifestyle. Welcome, little hustlers, to the Live Your Lifestyle movement. I greatly appreciate you tuning into this week's episode and choosing Live Your Lifestyle as a podcast for you to tune into, to listen to grow, to master, and to help you create your ideal lifestyle. I respect your time at the highest level, so I don't take this lightly. So thank you. I greatly appreciate it. If you did not tune into last week's episode with the interview with Tim Meuchel, I would highly recommend for you to go tune into it because it is a jam-packed episode with so much value, so many key takeaways, and just so many things that Tim has gone through his career and his entrepreneur career and corporate life that he tells you how to, one, avoid those mistakes, gives you a different perspective on some things, and just really, he is a great speaker, great author, so highly recommend for you to tune into him. What we're going to do in this week's episode is we're actually going to deep dive into one of the tips that he would give himself. It's actually something that we're going to start doing is when I do an interview, one of the questions that I always ask is, if you could give yourself 3 tips to your 21-year-old self, what would they be? So the reason why I ask that question is because, everyone has different tips. Sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're very different. It all depends on their walks of life. So when I ask that question, the next following week, we might deep dive into one of the tips that they would give themselves because I believe it'd be so valuable for you. Now, one of the number one tip actually that Tim said he would give himself is he would tell himself, 21 years old, don't go down someone else's path. Now, this can mean so many different things on where you're at with your level, but it really just means, follow what you love to do. Don't go down a path because society, your family, your parents, your brothers, sisters, friends are telling you to go down that path. Go down that path in the journey in life because you absolutely want to go down it. It's pulling at you. It's it's that passion. It's got that desire. It's like you can't stop thinking about it, or that you want to go down it, or even if it's risky, but it's rewarding if you go down that path. One of the reasons why I believe Tim said that he would give himself this tip is because Tim went down the corporate ladder for a while. He was crushing it in the corporate world. He was one of the top guys in his business. People would strive to be where Tim was at. However, Tim was not happy in that corporate world. He knew it's not something that he wanted to do, and he kind of went down someone else's path because it wasn't, in the long run, it wasn't the path for him. Not everything happens for a reason. He went down that path for a reason, but he would tell himself at 21 years old, don't go down someone else's path. So you might be in what his shoes were back then. You might be in a job that you don't like, or you might already be going through college to get a job that you're not going to be that you're not going to be passionate about. You might already be going down someone else's path that that's not your path. Now, I'm not saying quit. I'm not saying leave it. I'm not saying get out right now and quit everything because, that's not strategic. That's not smart. However, what I do recommend for you is to create a blueprint, create a plan to get to where you want to go. So now this goes down into your passion, what you love to do. Now, when you say don't go down someone else's path, it's because you aren't passionate about it, or you don't want to do it, or it's not something that really, it's not what's going to make you jump out of the bed all excited to go to work, right? So we need to figure out, what is your path? What do you love to do? What are your values? Who are you? What do you want in this life? Where do you want to be in 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years? What type of experiences do you want to have? How do you want to be making money? Where do you want to be living? You need to get the most clarity about yourself. And I've already talked about this before, but you're going to hear it over and over and over again. Clarity is so important because without clarity, you really don't have anything. If you aren't clear on who you are, then who are you? If you are not clear on what you want in your future, then what are you going after? If you're not clear on the past mistakes that you've made, then how are you growing? You need to be very clear on everything in life. And with this is we need to get very clear on you and what you're passionate about. All the other stuff we can work on for a little bit later. But right now is if you're going down someone else's path or you're going down a path that you are not passionate about, you know that you're not going to like, you know that you're going to be miserable. So now we need to figure out what plan, what journey, what path do you need to go down? And this all just comes down to is what do you want to do in your future? How do you want to make money? There are so many different ways to make an income in this world. You can be an Instagram influencer, you can be a digital marketer, you can be an author, you can be a speaker, you can be a consultant, you can be a videographer, a photographer, you can be like a person that grooms dogs. You can have a dog page on Instagram, or you can be a YouTube influencer. There's so many ways to make money nowadays. So you really need to figure out what is it that you want to do. So you're not going down someone else's path and you're going down your path. I've said this before, but it is a 1 in 400 trillion chance of you being born. Wrap your head around that. 1 in 400 trillion to be born. To give you kind of an idea of a measurement, do you understand that to win the lottery in the United States, it's a 1 in 239 million? And if someone says, hey, I'm going to go for the lottery, they'd be like, oh, good luck. Yeah, you're ridiculous. You'll never win it, or blah, 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 blah. The statistics are so crazy. Well, you understand that you blew that record out of the water like 1,000 times the second you were born. So anything can happen. So I want you to stop doubting yourself. I want you to stop looking at maybe something that you love or maybe a path that you really want to go down and you doubt it because it's the likelihood or the chances or this, and that. You broke every record in this world the day you were born. Start acting like it. Start going after it. You were born for a reason. There's a reason why it's a 1 in 400 trillion, and there's a reason why you're the one that got born. So with that, you're here for a reason. You have a purpose. Everyone has a purpose. Everyone has that desires. You and me are very different. I have certain passions. I love certain things. I dislike certain stuff. We're different. Do we have similarities? Yes. Do we have differences? Hell yeah. So everyone is different in their own way, and everyone's here for a reason. You know, one of my missions in life is to help with the climate crisis. I'm very passionate about that. That's the reason why I'm put on this earth, is to help you think bigger, help the millennial generation come together and help other generations come together so we can stop this climate crisis and we can come together as one. That is one of the things I'm very passionate about, and it's one of the things that I believe is my purpose. Everyone's here for a reason. You just need to get more in tune into what is that exact reason. So I want you to figure out, what are you passionate about? What do you want to do? What path do you want to go down if you are going down the wrong path? This is a very big key because people will end up, 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old, 60, 70, 80, and they regret everything. You don't want to be on your deathbed regretting all the decisions you've made and all the risk you didn't take. Take the risk. Go after what you love to do. Even if you only make, little income, but you're doing what you love to do every day versus a higher income, but you hate what you do, who cares about the money? It's all about what you love to do. And once you figure out what you're passionate about, once you figure out what you're here for, your purpose, the money will come. I promise you, the money will come. It will. You just need to get the right mindset. So don't go down someone else's path, and figure out what you love. Figure out what you're passionate about. Figure it out 100% on where you want to be in just 5 years. How about that? Where you want to be in 5 years with your income, where you want to be in life, where you want to live, what car do you want to drive. Be very clear on everything on that you can in 5 years so we can start going down that path. We can start taking those actions to get that 5-year plan. A problem that I see a lot in our society is a lot of people will go down someone else's path or take someone else's opinion, or will, not even really think for themselves. Like if they're a Republican and a Republican has some other person talking about something that they're a Republican, they'll just be like, yeah, I agree with them. Or yeah, let's vote for them. Even though they might not agree with it, but they're just not being their own thinker. They're not thinking for themselves. They are just doing it the easy way and just going along with it, going along with society, going on that path, which is not theirs. So I want you to start thinking for yourself. Whatever it is in life, start thinking for yourself. You might not even agree with some of the things I say, and that's fine. And I love that, honestly, because then you don't agree with me and you're thinking for yourselves, and I'm all for it. Start evaluating people's opinions. Start when someone says something, or someone's going down a path, or someone's telling you to do something or think a certain way. Think why. Think all about the whole thing that you're going to go down, because every decision you make, every comment you post, every text you send out, everything you do every day with your life is part of your legacy. It's part of you, and everything you do shows who you are as a person. Do you really want to put that in the hands of someone else, or do you want to put it in the hands of yourself, who it should be? So start thinking for yourself and start really thinking about who you are, who you want to represent, who you want to show up to the world, and the path you want to go down. Everything you do as a consequence has some type of effect from it. Whether you comment negative on someone's post, some other people are going to see that, and they're going to see that came from you. And I'm not saying don't do that, but I'm just always saying why. Always ask yourself why, because that will make you, no offense, it's going to make you do less stupid stuff out there. And I even do this for myself. When I'm about to do something, I'm like, okay, why am I about to do this? Or why do I have this thought? Evaluate, self-reflect. It's a huge, huge, huge key. This is your life, and you can do whatever you set your mind to. And I sound like one of those inspirational people. You can do anything you set your mind to. You have potential. You have this and this. It's nothing if you don't start executing. Knowledge is power, but execution is key. If you don't execute, you'll never get to where you want to go. So what I want you to implement from this episode, if you're already going down your path and you're killing it, hell yeah, more power to you. Give yourself a pat on the back, because there's a lot of people that are listening to this that are, man, he's right. Man, I do need to get on my own path. Man, I hate this job. Or man, I need to get out of this rut. So if you don't have that, props to you. Maybe to something that you can implement on is, if there's anyone that you influence, or there's anyone that's in your circle that you could help get on their own path, help them. Tell them to even listen to this episode. That's what I want you guys to implement on if you already are going down your own path. For the ones that are not going down their own paths, you're going down a path, you're going down someone else's path, and you're not happy, and you know that there's something else more for you out there. What I want you to start implementing on is start thinking for yourself in every areas of life. It's okay to listen to other people and take their opinions and go down with their path, but just always think of it. Really think thoroughly about everything, because everything you do is a part of your legacy. So start thinking for yourself. Number 2, get very, very clear on where you want to be in, I say 5 years, but even if 5 years too much, let's say a year to 3 years. Where do you want to be in a year to 3 years if 5 years too much? If you're stuck in a corporate job, or if you're stuck in a job you hate, figure out what you love, figure out who you are, figure out what are your values. And when I say values, what is important to you that, that's going to kind of base your decisions off that. Some of my values are family, humor, generosity, freedom, influence, impact, helping one another. I can go on and on. Adventure, there's so many. So figure out what values mean the most to you. So then you can kind of base your decisions around those values. 2, base your future off those values. How do these values going to affect your life? If you're a family person, then you might want, a job where you have more freedom, time freedom, working from home, so you can be more with your family. There can be so many different things. So 1, start thinking for yourself. 2, figure out your values. 3, figure out where you want to be in 1 to 3 years. And 4, get very, very, very clear on everything you can about who you are, who you want to show up as a person, and where you want to be. This is your time. This is your life. This is your future. You can do anything you set your mind to, but if you don't start executing on what you need to start executing on, you're never, ever going to get to where you want to go. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. I can't wait to hear from you next week. If there's anything, email me, DM me. I love to help. And before you go, I just wanted to say thank you for listening and being a part of the LYL Hustler community. I hope you got value from this episode and know what to execute on. Remember, if you stay consistent, it's only a matter of time until you have your ideal lifestyle. If you want to truly elevate your game, go visit www.thelylmovement.com and click the Lil Wolf tab. I'd greatly appreciate your feedback, so email or leave a review, as well as subscribe to the show. Always be clear on your ideal future lifestyle and what you need to do daily to create it. Thanks again, keep grinding, and I'll see you next week, hustlers.